I know.
Oh man.
Oh,
Is this it?
this is something a little bit different for sure.
Oh yeah, I know. It's been a minute coming, right? Been a minute coming.
Yeah, man. This is really kind of what serendipitous is probably your word, right? I'm going to adjust the camera a little bit.
Yeah, bring it up. Yeah, I like that.
There we go. That we're kind of like halfway split. But yeah, I mean, we're here tinkering with shit and messing around with episode 52, which was a goal for us to get done in the first year.
Yeah, if you really think about it, guys, and if you guys are listening, just between me and Marcos, these were just calls that we're just connecting with, and we're just trying to find out like what a bigger perspective there was around the health and wellness world and what we were just seeing from our years of knowledge being in the fitness space, the nutrition space, but even in the clinical space, and just kind of seeing like what is going on. And then these calls were trying to figure that out, and then the podcast became just us talking smack on a few episodes per week, trying to do some cool things, and then it kind of evolved into something else, which, to be quite honest, was never in my imagination. I'm being real with you. Didn't expect it to get to 52 episodes 5 months in advance. And for you guys to see that evolution was amazing, because this was supposed to be December, just us two. And then now we've got a ride of 50 plus episodes of other people. And the biggest thing we love to say is community, connection, and culture. And those are the 3 C's that I feel that we harness in on. And I'm like, how did we get here?
Yeah, we got here by, just continuing to tinker, experiment. Yeah. Just do a ton of different things. And it's led to, I actually, if you think about it, like you mentioned, if we wanted to eventually offer something, we needed to get this many reps in. And then as of this weekend, to offer something that we actually are thinking that can bring a ton of value to people is like what we've created now, dude. Like it is a very similar but different way of approaching things. I think that when we unveil it all to the world, we'll look back at this episode and be like, yeah, I remember that weekend. That was cool. And it definitely didn't flow according to plan, like much like everything else that we do.
Yeah. Just to be honest with you guys, I'm in my own little world. I'm in my own little corner, with my life, things going on. And Marcos is always pushing me, hey, come out here, because we are about that connection. And I'm busy doing my thing. He's busy doing his thing. And then I realized, watching him with his work, his flow, how he handles things, how he delegates, how he handles his kids, it made me realize not only the work that we do when we come back to our own without each other is that much more important, because I see what he does and the things that I want to make sure he can do, where his headspace is, I would say, not clonky or drag, but just being able to be Marcos's best potential self means we've got to put this in a place that allows him to be like that, right? And not to say that the space is bad or what you're doing is bad. It's just that.
Oh, dude. I can tell everybody here that it has been far from ideal since the birth of my daughter, and that's effectively when I've done practically everything in a remote capacity. And it's always like catering to nap time and basically like being the paternal and maternal figure, because my wife had things that she was trying to go after with finishing school, and it was hair school, and then starting to get us like an assistance type of role, and then from there moving forward to now having a chair and pursuing endeavors where she can bring something to the table for our marriage and relationship. And it's been a journey. There's been butting of heads. There's obviously, Seamus has witnessed this about, not that like, I don't want to like, it's not like I'm trying to bring my wife down. It's just like, I'm trying to like, want her to elevate so much quicker. And and I think that like the limiting beliefs that even we have with taking on this project, right? Like we could stay comfortable. We could totally just do our roles as health coaches and make a solid living. but I think we always would question like what more lies on the table, right?
I was really thinking about this earlier today as I was reflecting here. I took a little siesta
on the couch is in the background here.
It just got cold up in here, and I was like, and
oh, mind you, that's with 115 degrees
outside in Vegas. But you know, it kind of reminds me of like the siestas back in the Philippines, because that's a thing. But I was thinking about, I'm like, who would have a team on a Saturday, right? Like, I'm taking Marcos's time on a Saturday. Come in, me fly in, come in. We spend 3-4 hours, maybe 6 in total, of just trying to hash out what we're trying to do. And literally, you're looking into the void, a darkness, and you're going, there's literally nothing there. And I'm asking Rachel, our producer, to go, we need to create something. And we had to hash it out. It's like, who would say yes to that? And when you don't need to do it, when you don't need to add in more to the chaos that's in your life already, it takes a certain someone, because I think at the end of the day, Marcos and I, you know, we do want more for ourselves personally. I know we will get that personal touch, that personal goal, but we just know that the people that we've worked with, the other people that we will be working with, and those that are going to come our way, it's, again, culture, community, and connection, and that we know we can do it in a way that will work for them, in a sustainable way, in a different way. And I feel like we needed to do this. And yeah, it would be weird to be like, to just do the podcast and make it, you know, an episode a week, whatever, and get some cool guests, cool. But there's more. There's more, and I want to push that. I want to see the question is like, how far can I go? Who can I become? And who else can we bring along with us for them to be their best potential self?
Yeah. I mean, even last night being the example, I know Rachel definitely like was feeling some pressure. Like, we're not getting, quote, as much done in one day as possible. But like, I think now she gets, like, we don't work that way. It's like, put something out there and then like process, put something out there, process. And it's a lot of like flowing pieces, and like, you know, step by step, as you were thinking like systems, operations, you know, offers, right? Like, what can we offer to people? What value can we bring into people's life at a price point that people won't be turned away from, right? Like, individually, when people reach out for help, they're generally sticker shocked, and they're like, why would I mean, I don't even pay this much for a gym membership. Why do I pay that much for a coach?
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, just like anybody that moves up in their career, they become more expensive as they see their time allocated and the value that they can provide.
Yeah.
And we don't want that to be a limiting factor. We want to find a new way to, again, broaden people's horizons. Again, like, if anybody came up to us on the street and asked us questions about what to do, like, here's my shirt, here's exactly what to do. You know what I mean? Like, but like, you know, we live in the real world. There's thoughts about like, how am I going to feed my family? How are my kids going to do things? And yeah, so like, you know, again, like, I think we can just walk people through like the process that happened over the last 3 days. Like, day one, we got like right into it, and it was like 2 hours, but it was, again, a little clunky, a little broken up. There were still people to facilitate, client calls that needed to get done, and
people to see, random things.
People to see, you know. And actually, my communication with my wife, quote, sucks, according to her, right? And she's like, "Oh, you didn't tell me everything was going on tomorrow." I was like, "Yeah, literally everything was supposed to be spread out differently, and then it all got pushed into one day." So
yeah, I think that's the chameleon in us, being able to like adapt to the certain situation at hand and just play the role that we need to play in that moment. And just adaptation at its best. Like, hey, look, if it's in 2-hour clunks, I'm totally cool with that too, because, you know, some people need to process at different time frames, right? And sometimes, usually, like you said, 2 hours is probably all I got.
Generally, I know when Rachel watches this, like, I could see on her face, like, wow, I'm kind of burned out from like, like, when we look back, I was like, we got a lot done today in like 3 hours. And then it's like, yeah, you know, like, there's a lot of moving pieces that now have to happen just right in the background alone. Like, I'm like, I want these other, you know, spaces that are occupying just digital space, right? But like, places you have to go check to be absolved, right? There's no reason to be having, you know, 3 or 4 emails anymore. It's like, it's all getting down to one,
organization,
right? And it's organization, and people like, you're like, oh, like, I mean, the more things you have to check, the more things that you think you have to do, and therefore probably the less productive you become.
Yeah,
right.
When you think about it, right, when you scale and when you become better, you have to have a foundation that can't break in terms of organization and being able to communicate effectively to a team and being able to go like, look, this is how it's here. This is our suite we go because, I mean, this is a people business, right? What we're going to do. It's a coaching business. There's going to be so much on the table that can be left to be forgotten, not attacked, or even like misunderstood. And we just don't want that happening. And to start here and go, look, instead of doing this in 20 minutes and just rushing through it, we're going to take the 3 hours to really get this done right.
Yeah.
And then we're going to spread it out over time when we get back and go, all right, this block on the week, this block on this, to do our deep work or to do whatever. And, you know, sometimes people just can't get into that flow, but that's okay because like we've blocked it out.
And I suck at it. I suck at long-term flow state shit. I'm obviously you've kind of bared witness to that. There's just, again, there's a lot of personal goals that I also want to like get to, and which requires like movement and activity. And then, you know, then it's cooking for the kids and like, you know, whatever it is, it's just like, there's a lot. And like blocking out, I mean, so I ordered a walking treadmill so that I can bound myself more, right? Like, you know, something that allows me to still get movement, but be in front of this computer screen that is technically right in front of us. But, you know, like it's like just slowly changing the environment. And I commonly talk about this with so many people that like, this is like what you see on the screen here. People who are watching or people that can go take a look at this.
Yeah.
Like this is the environment of my day to day. It is literally like 144 square feet. It's like not even a 12 by 12 room. Right.
Yeah.
So it has to be practical. It has to be able to facilitate everything that I want to get done. And generally speaking, that comes at a cost, you know, that you have to get certain equipment and things in here. And even Seamus, right before we hopped on here, was like, yo, like, this is like a really techie workstation, but it's also super like modern and clean. You know, I really like,
I love the look,
like the
lighting.
You know, the natural light. You got these wood shutters that you can't see there. You know, things are, you know, it needs to be appealing. And so I was like, you know, while trying to still hit my own goals of like a deficit and dieting and movement. You know, it would be easier before just having calls, but now it's not just calls. Now it's like documentation or creation of things and execution of lists. So then I feel like I'm not hitting my own personal goals
because you're doing
at the expense of like another personal goal. And so it was just like some conflicting stuff.
I mean, that's the stuff that I always see with my clients or I see with people that I tell them, like, I mean, at the end of the day, as much as I love, you know, just fitness, I love nutrition, I love all that stuff, I tell people, like, you get to a point where like business goals, finance goals, relationship goals should be taking way more of your mind than the fitness and nutrition, because you've just locked that down. You know, you don't have to think about it. Like for me, like,
your workouts on autopilot, and they're like, I mean, if you give people perspective, like, I mean, how much volume do you think you do? Like, if you were to equate it, like, how many total working sets is there?
I mean, I do like 4 to 6 movements, 3 to 4 sets per movement, 3 to 4 times a week. So it's probably just in that 25 set zone.
25 sets.
Like I hit the minimum.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm getting great results.
No, it's more than 25 sets. Well, 25 exercises, 25 times 4. So like 100 quote sets a week. Whereas like for me, my own, I don't know, like I can't break it. It's probably like 200 to 300.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, of like working sets.
But you're at that level, and you're a different training style than me at this moment, because I'm on right now, for you guys watching this, by the time you see this, it's like I'm gonna do a photo shoot. We'll see if that photo shoot sees the light of day. Hopefully it will. But I gotta get a tan first, as you can see my complexion compared to but no, the thing I think about is like, look, like if you can get those things on autopilot, right? Like meals prep, things done, you know, all the little things that you're doing. Hey, time with the kids, this, all that stuff that like requires you to not be in a flow zone, but be in what you call like task changing all the time. You can be more dialed into and feel effortless and like focus on that. But also, I'd love to see you get into a more of a zone of like more deep work, more stuff, or we batch it. We learn how to batch more. We learn how to do things more. And the thing that I love about you is just, you got that treadmill. You called me earlier this week, got the treadmill, boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, Dude, that's awesome, because I would do that too. I've had calls where it was raining and I'm like, I need the treadmill there because I'm like doing 2 hours of calls. It's raining. It's already late at night or in the evening or afternoon. And I'm like, well, I got to get my stuff. Like I got to be the best me. So I'm on calls. I'm doing shred stuff. I'm doing things that my environment has made it so easy for me to succeed. And I love that you're making it like that for yourself too.
Yeah. I mean, we tell this to everybody we work with, like you have to be in the most conducive space to allow it to happen. So, you know, that's what we do. We audit people's lives and lifestyles essentially. And then, hey, like I would love to be able to buy everybody a walking treadmill. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, like this is going to help facilitate this thing. I know that you're generally desk bound, right? This is just the modern day worker, right?
Yeah.
And the modern day metabolism
is just not there.
It is not meant to just be sitting like that all day.
Yeah.
Again, like in order to hold yourself to a high level of like personal excellence, like it's not even a vanity thing. It's just more of like something about accomplishing those things helps me know that like I'm at peace with like where my body is. And when my mind and body are at peace, the workflow is better. So, you know, as I was putting more time into those things, I'm now feeling a schism. It's like, am I gonna, again, like, how am I going to allow myself to like let the other, like, I don't want just the business version of myself to shine through. I want the, you know, personal excellence side of things to shine through.
It's so key that you speak about this because part of our weekend is we had a call with a previous guest, DP Gates. And he literally said this. He's like, for your business to shine, you need to keep working on your identity, your mindset, and your communication.
That's my identity. My identity is someone that has to figure out that balance first.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that look like? And hell, there's a bike right over there that I started with like earlier in the week before the treadmill got ordered, you know? And it was just like, this is too clunky. I mean, it could work, like, but I'm like literally one day into it, I was like, I'm pretty sure that my prostate fucking hates me.
It's just in the seated position.
I was like, literally, I think I'm getting a hemorrhoid probably from sitting on this thing. It's just like not meant for this. But dude, nonetheless, like, again, like you've mentioned a few times this weekend, it's like, it's been, you know, kind of relieving to understand, you know, and he's like, and you're like, hey, I'm really willing to, like, you're good at these things. I'm good at these things. I'll take on these tasks because I do have this time. And I have to come to terms with like, hey, like, yeah, like that might mean a little more work on Seamus's plate right now. But like, you know, because of like the movement and the calls, I can be facilitating things. And I know a lot of people would probably be like, okay, like everybody wants to be their own boss. I don't want a partner. I don't want this. I don't want that. It's like, I think when you know where all your weaknesses lie and then you find someone else that's really good at those things, but they're also, again, like, I don't think we'll just call them, they're not blind spots per se, but it might be something like we hope to bring it up in time, but we're not actively working on it. Mm-hmm. So like, again, like I can push you to do things, you can push me to do things, but like that, I mean, any organization that has anything going for them these days, like there's not one person, there's other people behind the scenes. There's generally some sort of figurehead per se, but like you best believe like aside from like the creator type, which we interviewed here recently, that's generally not what happens.
No, for sure.
Or you reach burnout.
Yeah, or you reach burnout, or like you're at capacity. And I was feeling that. I told you, like with the businesses that I do, the things that I'm doing, and like seeing the growth that I wanted. You know, I've been hitting my head for like the last 6 months trying to do things, and I'm realizing like maybe that's just not my skill set, and maybe 6 months maybe wasn't enough, or maybe it was just the wrong place. Right? Because maybe this iteration, because like how many times have I iterated on a business idea or this or that as an entrepreneur or quote unquote like a business owner and things like that. It's like your first business is probably not your last, and how you iterate is probably not your first. And so like I've realized that about myself, and you know, coming to terms with that, it's a people thing. Like you really got to learn how to delegate. You got to really understand the complementary terms. And for me right now in my life, I'm at a mode where I can have more load, right? And I can crush it on the deep work kind of stuff, or do all these things that in the back end can be done, just because, you know, for you guys personally to know, like my lady, she's like in her master's program, she's working 2 clinical dietetics jobs, one in the hospital, one online, and she starts her day at 4, ends her day at 9 or 10. And I'm over here like,
And she does some bodybuilding training and is meticulous with her own diet on top of it, which is, again, just like another full-time job.
Exactly. So she's on top. She's got a coach. She's doing everything. And I'm watching her and I'm like, talk about a high performer. And I'm over here waking up at 4 doing my thing. And then I'm getting into my zone. But a lot of my zone is very like easy to control. And then into the evening, I'm like, I don't have kids. Into the evening, I don't have to do baby time. I don't got to do wiping the diaper. I don't got to do the bath. I don't got to do nothing. I got energy. I got clarity. I got focus at those times for like, what do you need? You know?
Yeah.
And I think I was thinking about this. Like, I've got the skills. I've got the traits. I believe, no, I've got the beliefs. I've got the traits. I just have to climb the skills ladder now because I've got those two things. Like my belief is, hey, I believe this to be an amazing offer. I believe this to be an amazing business podcast, like super crystal clear. Marcos is there. Rachel's there. And there's other people, you guys listening to this that, okay, it's great. It's going to become even better, right? This isn't even the final form. And then I've got the traits. I know I have traits about me as a person personally that really transfer well to business, right?
Yeah.
I just have to then build up my skills or transfer that to somebody else or delegate to that to someone else. And that's something we've seen too. So yeah, man, it's quite interesting, the the dichotomy that we have here of who we are as people and then who we have around us. And it's just kind of beautiful to just kind of see how this whirlwind of things is being created.
It's, I think about everything we did in this last like 48 hours has been really amongst a few different communities. And I think that's like, as we were doing it, I'm just like, I am like over the moon. Like, again, like everybody probably doesn't know that I really do enjoy cooking for like a massive group of people, like, and trying to figure out how to like, keep it healthy, impart flavor, do these things, and like have again, like, I don't think it's ever perfect, but I mean, just have an experience and have a sit down, have conversations. Yeah. And, that was like the focal point of like literally every time we ate this week, and it was never anything bad. I mean, what, did we have anything that was like taboo? Like anything that was like crazy?
No, everything. The cool thing is like what you made, what you ate. I mean, like lunch yesterday was a place called Greens and Proteins out here in Vegas, and bison wraps with some jicama fries.
Yeah.
Really
some legendary pastries for snacks, maybe some Metrix bars.
But those are like, hey, to fill in the proteinness and just because we're on the go. Like we had to have a meeting in a boardroom. We had to do like big things that we didn't know. We were like, oh, we're having this big meeting right now. And then like last night we had dinner with your fam bam, and it was like freaking great cucumber salad with some great meats and this chicken with some stick. I was like, yo, this is like phenomenal.
He also, Seamus goes like, you must have been Filipino in a past life because this rice is Filipino rice, my friend. I'm like, I'm just a math guy and I like a 2-to-1 ratio.
I literally had a bite of that and I was like, my grandpa, I called him Papa Arnold. I was like, yo, is Papa Arnold like in here right now? Like,
that was without a rice cooker, bro. There's something about, I mean, like, again, like there's certain things like, okay, like, when you put something into a pressure cooker, which is kind of what we're doing to ourselves right now, I think it's a great analogy, right?
Yeah.
You're going to get things done faster and you're going to get to a really good end result. But like realistically, you would rather slow cook that bitch. You know what I mean? Like for whatever reason, when you throw that bitch in a crock pot versus a pressure cooker, or if you make like, I mean, some people would say like, hey, smoking on a Traeger is not really smoking. You know what I mean? And it's not like low and slow and you like dealing with like the work, for sometimes too, like the analogy here goes like, if you're not cracking the nut of the pistachio and working for it, like it's not really the same thing.
Really?
You know what I mean? Like, but like, like those things, that pressure cooker to get something out of it again is a great analogy for a sprint and something that, again, what this turned into. All right. I was like, no, like could we do 2? Could we do 3 episodes a week? Could we do these like shorter iterations? Could we do this? And then all along the way, it's like, again, what are we working on here? Well, what we're truly working on here is articulating, I mean, ideas, concepts, and trying to remove the filler words, the ums, the ahs, the this, the that, right? There it was again, right? Like, but the focus is to get better at skill sets that can continue to better people, because the communication and we'll call it quote sales, I mean,
You're selling everything. It's helping people.
You're constantly selling people as a coach on the thing they don't have.
No, it really is true. And yesterday, just back to that DP Gates call.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys can listen to him, listen to Bob Proctor. He recommended a book called like U Squared by Price Pritchett.
Yeah. Read it on audiobook all of
in an hour
this morning on my way to go pick Seamus up from my parents' house.
I'm going to listen to it on the plane ride home tonight, but then also like read the book just because I love reading.
Yeah. Text plus. Yeah.
Yeah. Just highlight that, journal about it, think about it. I love to really assimilate things like a few times.
I don't.
Yeah, you just get it.
I'm a one and done person. Like I have all these books that I bought, and the goal of those books, I don't know if I mentioned this on here or to you, like, is so that hopefully my son or daughter will pick it up at some point.
Yeah.
And I think I got that from Ben Greenfield or somebody else that was like, I built a library of things that I'm actively or have read, so that, you know, everything that's in there is again, a library of things that have probably given you value. And a lot of the books that are probably not there are hopefully going and giving someone else value, just like last night.
Yeah, no, for sure, 100%. Yeah. And by the way, love Ben Green. I think he mentioned this on his pod about like most people have like picture albums and things like that. He said something like, also have like a family binder, like a family SOPs. Something like that, which is like another tangent. But
was it Ben Greenfield's the biohacker, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the other one that's like in that vein?
Ben Patrick?
Not Ben Patrick. Who's the one that like puts himself in a Faraday cage? Is it Greenfield? Like before he goes to sleep?
I'm not so sure who it is, but there's a lot of biohackers. But anyways, back to the point that DP was saying. DP was saying like, he's like, I've had these top sales guys who are on a call, got this person super emotional, crying, yelling, screaming, high-fiving, didn't close them. What does that mean? If you didn't close them, that means you just got them excited, but you're not helping them.
Yeah.
You're not helping them. And that's why we really thought this through. Really have to think about what does it mean to help someone. Now, at the same time, quote unquote, monetizing it, right? Just to do what we're supposed to do and give the value. If you don't pay for something, you probably don't pay attention. We have a lot of free stuff. We're going to have over hundreds of episodes on this pod, hundreds of things, PDFs and things like that for you guys, deliverables that will be free. But let me ask you, how many times have you sent it for a free thing, checked it out for a second, never actually used it?
Took action with it?
Hundreds of times for me.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. But let me ask you, when you got a coaching session, right? Even if it was $100, $200. I mean, hell, we had a friend here, Adam. I was like, physical therapy session for an hour. And that was probably the best physical therapy session I've ever had.
Told you he was a shaman, bro.
He was a shaman. Fixed up my lat and my pecs, guys. And it's like, he was like going to do it for free for me. And I was like, hell no.
Oh,
like,
shit, really?
Yeah, he was like, I got you. I was like, no. Like, it's like, here's my card. Like, I'm paying full price. Don't give me a discount. Like, I want to support your business. I want to do this because when you pay to play and you pay attention. And I mean, the best times I've ever invested in myself, whether it was $10,000 for a big thing, my coaching certification, I had to travel here. These inconveniences, these investments, they can inconvenience you. But guess what? You show up and you learn. You show up and actually implement, right?
Yeah.
The smartest person in the room isn't the person that knows the most. Oh my God, look how many books I've read. No, it's the person that applied it the next day.
Dude, legitimately, yeah. That's kind of, again, what DP had mentioned on our first episode. And it was like, again, that I had self-identity. What, again, like, he's like, you kind of remind me of this type of person, an edger in a sense. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I actually really like that title.
I like that title
a lot.
Yeah.
I like that it's like, my goal is to push people to become the best versions of themselves, right? But I'm not a hoorah-rah guy. I've never, even my wife would be like, can you just give me a compliment? I'm just like, like, it's like, why do I need to compliment perfection, babe?
Hey, there you go. That's how you save yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, and I think back to a moment in a CrossFit session where one of my best friends literally was like, bro, like, why weren't you there, like, cheering for me? I was like, dude, do you not know me? Like, I've never done that. I'm like hardly, again, like, even for my son, I'm going to be over there analyzing things of, like, again, like, processing the moment. And again, like, laying it on kind of like what JK said on that episode, like, boy, I just want you to know, like, the thing today that made me most proud of you is like your teamwork or your facilitation skills and things that I think will make him become a better man as he gets older.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's just like, again, I try to take a lot of these inputs a lot of the time and really understand it to like how to apply it even better in my own life as a father, as a striving like just person, like in general, like and I want to be thriving. I want to be thriving in a way where, again, when people come up, it's just like, again, give. It's not about purely a financial driven goal.
Like, what am I getting out of this?
What am I getting out of this? It's never really been that way, but it's something, again, like I know I need to probably work on like cheering for people a little bit more.
Yeah.
And some other, again, maybe, blind spots in my own thing, but like the blind spots are there so that I can hopefully go, again, analyze, make people better, bring up their, their bright spots.
Yeah.
Maybe identify some of the weaknesses and blind spots in them. And then like cheer them on again. You know what I mean? Because I know so many people are processing these failure points as like, now it's over, it's done. Like I had a bad week, I had a bad weekend, whatever. And then, that's one of the things I've personally analyzed to be the most successful way to be keeping people actually getting to their goal. Is what we're going to be doing. Right. It is about getting them to show up into these things. And for me, it has been calls in the last year. I mean, I think I actually got $100 international charge because I fucked up and called versus like FaceTime audio. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On one of the calls, but nonetheless, like,
I mean, it's kind of like personal training hours, right? I think
it is
one of the things that someone that like a lot of personal trainers they'll put on their bio, or like people's like over 10,000 hours coaching people on the gym floor. Well, it's over 10,000 hours being on calls with clients.
Well over.
Yeah. I mean, we've been doing this for like 10 years.
Yeah.
I've had time on the floor. You've had time on the floor, but I mean,
maybe not like you, but I've had some in-person CrossFit stuff that I did. Yeah. But,
yeah.
I mean, people in the DMs be asking me like, do you do coaching? And it's like, well, kind of like, you know what I mean? Like these days, like it's the, or personal training. I was like, define personal training question.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like to me, like personal training is great. I think it's a great career. A lot of great trainers out there, like, wouldn't take it away from them, but you kind of get to a point as a personal trainer on the floor and everything like that, where my personality really is about connection. I can't connect with someone in a session, the way we connect with them being a coach in an online or even like face-to-face setting, going over more stuff. Because here's the deal. I work with someone for 3 hours in a week, whether it's a private, semi-private, or group. Mm-hmm. In, out. In the group, it's probably the worst because it's like, 30 people? You didn't check my form today, coach. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My bad. Semi-private, there's 4 people there. Someone's talking, whatever. Personal training session, sometimes it becomes like a therapy session. You're like, oh yeah,
it is.
Oh shoot, we got to do your squat again. My bad.
That's where this most recent class we're going through together has really, the idea of like health coach being the title. When it was before we were nutrition exercise counselors, and then when we switched to health and then performance health in that organization, it actually really started to resonate with me more.
Resonates way more
because, again, like, and performance also being a key word there as well. Because anybody comes in just to do something for health, it's not enough. Like, I don't care what the fuck your numbers say on these things. I've yet to meet somebody to be so motivated by lowering their LDL that they're going to go make something happen, unless they've had an event. Unless, like, that's the only time it's like, the reason why this thing happened was because of this, and you need to fix this.
Yeah, right? Like I don't know anyone that lives a lifestyle that's like, I'm here to lower my LDL, and they just make one. There's got to be a little bit of je ne sais quoi to life, a little excitement, It's like, I love to, go out there and cycle. Oh, that's what you like to do? Oh, what else do you like to? I like to go surf. I like to go do things. Like, there's that performance aspect, and I want people to tune into that, resonate with that, because I personally believe like we were built to move. We weren't necessarily built to always just be in the gym, but we were built to perform. We were built to do things. You know?
Yeah. And I was jaded. I'll be honest. I used to think, hey, if this person's not working out, how the fuck am I going to get them a result? And then years and years later, I've been opened up to so many different schools of thought.
Yeah.
You know, continuously being a student. That's probably my favorite title, student.
Yeah, me too.
Because if you wear that hat all the time, you're open to taking in, you know, constructive criticism. And I think a lot of people, when we become, quote, professionals in this thing, we're going to go through the Dunning-Kruger effect. We're going to feel like we know fucking nothing, even though we might have a degree that tells us that we are merited in this particular subject.
You know how many times like I've got a client with a specific thing and I'm just like looking at them and I'm going through like their intake form and I'm going through like what's going on. And I'm like taking a second. I'm like, what is the plan for this person? And then as soon as I get pen to paper, it's like, oh, this is what you're doing. And the next thing you know, it's like, I already had it in me. You know, I knew exactly what to do with them. It's just sometimes you blank because you sometimes go like, you sometimes believe the problem is bigger than it is when you realize like, no, you already have it in you, Seamus. Like you've done this 1,000 times before, you know, It's not a big deal. I think we overcomplicate things.
We do.
And with the Dunning-Kruger effect and things like that, sometimes you think you know it and then you realize actually I don't, then you got to delegate it to someone else and like having that wherewithal too, right? That's a big one too.
Yeah. It's just a constant state of learning. That's what this project has become. I mean, and again, the first thing I learned today is like the identity that we fucking name the website is important. That matters to us. It doesn't matter if it makes it easier for other people. It has to matter to us. And I literally said this. It's like, it's not Ohio State University. It's the Ohio State University.
It's not just a weekend. It's
not
the weekend.
Yeah. Well, no. He no longer goes by that. You know what I mean?
No, that's like, what's it called? White chicks. Like, what is it? It's not a weekend. It's the weekend.
the. And so we're going to, you know, we had, the macro pod first, and it's like we put it down thinking this project would only be podcast related, and then we realized, you know what, we had talked about this thing in our earlier meetings before episodes about like, we really want to be able to like take this to the next level someday. So let's get the domain, right? It's like, what's $12 for the year, right? It's like, it's like, all right, 2 cups of coffee to not having this week. Oops. And, we sat down today and I know we hashed out a lot of things. And I was like, we still haven't decided about the domain, and again, like, it's one thing we want to hopefully, like, is there one here that we think we don't want to ever change?
This
right?
is the one.
Because then it's rebranding an identity. And so we're like, it has to have the story of course, right?
Yeah.
It has to have and it's the macro perspective, and that's what when we think tanked even the name. I think, was it before the first episode that we created?
We took like a month to think tank the name, almost like 2 to 3 weeks. I was playing with different names, what were catchy, what captured our ideas, what captured like it's different. You think of going to the store. I was telling Marcus, you think of going to the store.
Yeah.
And there's a company, if you guys know, but it's a carbonated water company called Liquid Death.
Yeah.
When you think of that, I mean, that's a little catchy. That's a little bit intense, right? Because it's like Liquid Death, and you see like skulls, and you see this artwork that's intense, and it looks like graffiti and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was the idea I was going for. So we were playing with different names, but we were also at the same time not trying to turn away people. So like, what captures that idea of all of life, but then also at the same time
also has the nutrition tie,
has like the nutrition tie, the fitness. We really started in fitness and health, and that's our expertise. But we know that from health and fitness, health and wellness, it's personal development spans in so many different ways, and that's where the roots and foundations are, and you can just kind of grow.
Oh, it sounds like you're describing the logo we're creating. Intentionally. Yeah. Well, and again, like, that's been a collaborative project with a few other people that I've been so blessed to have as clients over the years. Mm-hmm. And same thing with them. We're hopefully being part of, they planted their seeds and we're trying to help water them so they can grow in their particular endeavors. And I think that logo itself is very much so aligned with, like, again, like what we really wanted to capture in addition to the name, right? The name needed to be, for me, it had to be semi-witty and punny, right? Like, we were going to take this macro perspective. Ironically enough, I really try to coach people on a more macro lens in addition to, quote, macros, right? So it was like every single way that we talk about this particular word, right? Macro meaning like bigger picture shit, right? Versus we're not focusing on the little micro shit, right? It's the bigger picture shit. It's these, I guess like these big, like
it's the big picture, big nuances.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to get bound. If our name was bound by like Seamus and Marcos, or even like Health and Wellness Show or whatever, it's kind of like you're stuck there.
Yeah.
You're stuck there.
And again, like, when it comes to like curating the right people to come on the podcast, we actually view that everybody has something unique and some tie back into health or some sort of story of where they're now at. Right. Whether it was a real estate expert, which doesn't necessarily seem like it would fit, it does, because this person is talking about, again, how can I do this thing better than other people? Right. And explaining a process of like, again, kind of not overthinking something, but going to the source, right?
Straight go to it. Like go to the people that are doing it. I mean, I told Marcos after that amazing episode with JK, I had to sit down and go like, what is this? And I wrote it out. I said, authentic human connection, people with lived experience, doing it their way. And that's what I believe the macro perspective brings on, because when you can get guests on like that, they are living their authentic life. They're not living a life that is purposeless. They're not living a life where they're just going through the motions. They're not living a life that says, let me get to the weekend and just phase out. I want people phased in. The problem I want people to have around me, and I have it, is they have a problem turning off, not turning on. Those are the people that I love having around me, right?
Yeah. And like I told you too, though, like, while we want those people that are tuned in, we want those people that are also now tuning in. Yeah. Like the people that are in this community that we want, right? Like I want everybody that comes through the macro perspective community to come on the show. If they feel like they want to do it. One, I think they'll just have a great time. They'll see how different it is to talk this way, to try to be in like a conversational flow state, but additionally try to address people, which is like a really weird thing, but kind of fun.
It's kind of fun. And I mean, we do it in different ways too. Like you could be on here. We've talked about some other things for you guys to know, is like events. And then like sitting down with microphones like this, and then just, again, it's like it doesn't need, like, literally it does not need to be perfect, right? Like sometimes the camera will go on. Like the hardest thing to do, honestly, are reels, because you want it to be perfect, but like also the way that you edit stuff, you actually learn, hey, okay, like I didn't like that take, didn't like that take, hey, and I mean, hell, like I mean, every time you're just kind of giving yourself this new stimulus and exposure, man, oh man, it's like you become obsessed with getting better. I know why Mr. Beast is obsessed with what he did, why he became such a fanatic about figuring stuff out. Dude, I can, like, I mean, I'll use as an example right now, but like the Rubik's Cube, like I know it's funny, you didn't know that about me, we did, but we have that in common. But I'll say that, like, you have this thing and you solved it once, but then you're like, how can I do that
faster? Faster.
What's the other technique? And that's like, I think where Mr. Beast is at with content, is he's just so obsessed. Like he's figured it out, but he's so obsessed with, cool, figured it out was the first part. Yeah. There's now all these layers after it that is, for us, you're so entrenched and you're looking at this void and you go, man, I'm excited to figure this out. This is so cool.
Yeah. And I also think a lot of people think you have to aspire to get so big so quickly, or else it doesn't work. But I mean, there's a lot of people in this space that talk about like the first 3 years were just like no one was listening, and then it grew exponentially. And what happened? It's like the same thing. I think that those individual storytellers, I've listened to quite a few of them, and I was like, that's so honest. That's so like, there's no trend in like our quote viewership of episodes we've done. Maybe people that have a little bit more of a following already, they're a little more tuned into that person. But I think again, I think it was Chris Williamson, which I think he has a really big podcast.
Great podcast. I think he's 1 million followers now.
Yeah, okay. And he talked about how I was like, I didn't really get big until the last 18 months. Yeah, and then it's like you go down this like ride and this journey, and all those reps with the people that he was just having fun with. He was
just asking questions. He was asking questions, being genuinely humble, and he was doing the work. He was asking them to come on. He was providing a space where people can have their message. And I think he asked better questions than a lot of other people because he asks questions in a way that is reflective of what's happening in society today.
Mm-hmm.
But then he goes, what do you think about that? Right.
And then, people gaff for a second. I don't know. That's a good question. No one's ever asked me that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I never put it this way. And again, we've had moments like that. And every time I feel like every episode that we've had something like that happen, I know that the motivational interviewing or the techniques are getting better and better, and it's 100%. Becoming addicting. And I mean, one of our most recent episodes this last week, we were literally in front of our computers for 2.5 hours.
And it was time, and I was like, did we just speak here for 2-3 hours? And even the person said I get so nervous, what's going to happen here? And it's like, no, that wasn't even it was not even the case. And it was funny because then she goes, hey, by the way, I didn't even know what the word vacuum in Spanish was. I was like, girl, and I was like, damn it. I was thinking about it. I was like, what is the word? It's been so long for me too. I don't remember. I had to go look it up because obviously I cheated. I was like, aspiradora. Aspiradora. And she's like, yeah, that's the word. That's the one I didn't know. Little simple vocabulary. And that episode ended up being turned out really good. And then the back end, I think a lot of people don't realize too that there might be 30 minutes to an hour and a half of just even more thoughts and ideas with those people. And we were flowing. I would say if we recorded that, it would be insane. But I think there's moments the Call EP or these people that they're just for us. They're just for us. Yeah. But I would love to expose people into the actual productive talk, the things you meant, and then find a way to low key just record the background somehow on the computer, and then OBS, baby. I'll show you what's up. Yeah, but it's where you said document, don't create. A lot of the because then you've noticed this too. The cadence of conversation kind of shuts down from this projecting to quote an audience, and then into this next thing where it's then it's conversational. Then it's just 3 people, and then it's oh my god, thank God, I'm just relief. I got all the stuff I wanted to talk about, plus different things. It was great questioning here, there, whatever. And then, then you're just you're shooting the shit about what do you do? What are you doing? What's going on? What's really happening under the hood? How are you as a person in addition to what you're, again, a lot of people have having vulnerable moments. Tears are being shed. And they're I know you pulled it out of me. I haven't told this story enough. Hell yeah. Your friend, Andrew, Pete, Andrew, Pete. The first 5 minutes, I just asked a question and I was I need to mute myself because I'm kind of I need a minute here, Yeah. And it's just those stories that are, again, authentic and people with a lived experience. You can't, I don't know, you can't speak to people that or you can speak to people, but the people that have that raw truth, look, we're going to get those people on. Yeah. It's not going to be pretty. It's going to have some emotions that are human emotions, and that's okay. And you got to have those moments. And actually, I think, to be honest, I want more of those. Not that I'm trying to force it, but that's the truth, right? But that's why, the health part of the community is so damn important. You know what I mean? There's been so many people talking about the mental state and the changing of the mental state in the last 3 years. And yeah, I mean, obviously global pandemic, I remember going to bed every night meticulously looking at the news feed, not the normal news on TV, but other things that I felt were telling different stories and starting to shed some light on some different things, listening to other people. And and then it was at that point where a lot of things shifted, and I was there's so much changing in how people are perceiving coaching right now. It's very weird, very isolating, very alone, right? It is very much so. Again, people are I'm stuck at home and I don't know how to control my eating, and I was yeah, I can relate. I'm obviously I'm doing it too, but
Now in the last 2 years after that, it's like, yeah, I really can relate because I'm always home.
Yeah.
You know, like,
no, I can really relate like with that because like being a coach, and I tell this to people all the time, like, how do you change people? Because you got to change yourself first. You got to work on you first. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, hey, you think you've had a binge?
I know, right? Let me tell you. You ever been stuck in an airport in Tennessee at 11 p.m. and you ran out all your food and you should have bought the Quest bar and then ate a whole pizza instead? Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been. Oh, you've been on a trip? Oh, let me tell you what happened my last trip. You know, or hey, you think your body's not. You think your body's not.
Speaking of that, how funny is it that, like, I swear to God, you and Rachel are jinxing me now. I'm getting the fucking weirdest travel legs anybody's ever experienced. And, like, I am not, like, by any means traveling an excessive amount, but something is happening, right? Like, you're like, hey, okay, you missed this flight. Okay, give up your seat, make X amount of dollars of like, credits. I was like, okay, like, just weird opportunities keep happening. And it's like, all right, I'm Wayne Gretzky in it, you know? Miss 100% of the opportunities I'm not going to take
Michael
here.
Scott. No, it's true, man. There's opportunities that, like, come out of nowhere that you're like, and then you meet people driving you here. They're like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. Like, hey, I need some help. And it's like, just learning how to ask, right? But no, like, I tell people all the time, like, with my body, I'm like, you think your body's shut you down, shut you out? You think your body's like, I've broken this whole frame twice and then some, and I had to rebuild it from the ground up. And that took years, painful years, slow. Talk about instant gratification. To get where I'm at with my shoulder pain that I had, dude, I was here once, right?
Like a frozen shoulder.
Long time, right? Yeah. And then it got to here, and then it got to here, and then it got to, like, I was like a 4-year journey. And people don't know, like, what that took and the reps you have to take. And you have to be, like, sitting in boredom, sitting in silence, going, like, when is it going to change, you know?
It is dark, dude. I mean, when I tweaked my back, and I mean, it's still not perfect. It's better.
Yeah.
When I tweaked it, and I was like, okay, this is just like any other back tweak that's, you know, just moved a little wrong.
Yeah.
And then, like, it wasn't getting better for, like, 2 months. I mean, like, debilitating. Like, I had a 28-year-old rolling out of bed, and I'm just like, yo, like, this is it. This is what people talk about. This is when they just stop giving a fuck. I'm like,
I'm turning and you leave.
I was like, I got the big one. I remember, and I was like, I know this is a result of what I wasn't able to continue to put out or into myself. And, you know, that's where, again, another change had to be made. And it's why I do value Adam so much in my life. And I think he's probably worth even more than he charged. And he's already
worth more than that charge that he gave me. I was like, how do I do a tip on this? Because
well, you come back and you see him again.
I'm going to see him again. Every time I'm in Vegas, I'm seeing him at least once. And those are the people that, you know, like, oh man, love of the craft, right?
Yeah.
He literally, because I want to.
Dude, in this room was the first time he did that fucking shaman magic on me.
Yeah.
I know he didn't have, like, the needles and, like, the elevated stuff, but he's like, this is what I'm going to be offering at my clinic once I get that open a month or two. And I was like, you know, in my head, I was like, I need to get to a place where I can afford this once or twice a month because I want my body to feel as good as it does right now. Right. And then again, like, I mean, people don't know this, but, like, one of my shoulders has been really jacked up for like 8 years. Don't try to snatch 275 when you're, like, obviously in a significant deficit and you're trying to beat someone who's way stronger than you. Like,
oh, you're doing that?
That's what I thought. I was like, oh yeah, I'm like, bro, I'm the ego lifting at its best. I'm going to fucking outlift you today is, like, literally my goal. I'm like, I'm feeling real fucking good. And it's like, okay, now impingement. Thank you. Rest of your life.
Rest of your life. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm like, my goal, just like you, is to eventually eliminate those pain points.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, well, what does it mean? It doesn't mean you stop doing what you've been doing. It's like, you know, like, is the body work and then getting it stronger and opening these things up. How long does that journey take? I wish I could document more of it.
Yeah.
But, like, I can tell people from firsthand experience, it's like the life of, again, someone who's been an athlete identifies as that. And it's a big thing that, like, I mean, I value it because I want the ability to go do athletic stuff with my kids because it's fun. Right. Losing that thing has been something that, like, I lost it for a while, and as soon as I started to get it back, I'm like, I know I cannot lose this.
Yeah, I can't lose this. I mean, it's the same thing for me, you know, I say this all the time, like, I know my peak days are behind me in terms of like performance. Like wrestling collegiately and making it to nationals, like that
Maybe
level
from
for
a
that
sports
from a sports perspective is there.
Yeah.
But I'm still hitting new PRs on lifts. I'm being pain free on my overhead stuff. Nothing's hurting in my low back. Like we hit this leg day the other day, and I was keeping up with the boys that are 40, 50 pounds heavier than me. Full range of motion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm paying for it right now. I don't know if I can get up today. And I've been massaging myself with the massage gun, but like what I'm trying to say is like there's still these little games that you can win. You know,
it's you against you, dude.
It's you against you, because it's like if you can win more often in life, and that's why. What do I start my group calls with? What do I start my client calls with? Bright spots and wins. Hey, what have you been winning with it this week? Where do you feel like you've won? Yeah. And I say that to myself too when I reflect on my week, because I go, yeah, I did win with that 5 extra pounds on that overhead press. If it's 5 pounds, maybe it's 2.5 pounds, but it's progression over perfection, right? And that fact that I can do that really, really shows me that even with the wins, that the wins are part of the struggle, because I'm struggling to get to where I want to get to, but that's the point. The mountain keeps moving. The goalpost keeps moving, because I don't really care about the goal anymore per se. I care about the journey. I care about the hardship. I care about like, yes, I love the struggle. Let's do that. And changing my mindset from going like, man, I need this again to feel alive, as to where like, no, I feel alive right now with everything that is hard. Everything, right?
Man. I mean, obviously I made a reel about that, talking about shifting the goalpost. The continuous state of this shift is something that, now that I know it to be true, I'm always thinking again, what is the next phase? Where is this like, change in structure? How does the periodization, as everyone talks about,
seasonality,
how's the season going to change? And I'm like, I'm so excited about the next phase that I need to be better in this phase.
Yeah.
And it's like, that was, I think, what was living in a perpetual state of maintenance is not fun. Right.
Yeah,
you need it. It's oftentimes needed if there are other things like that are going to take priority. Again, that might be like your son's sports season, and that's going to require driving and doing things. But like, now again, like, cause I know every quarter something's changing.
Every 90 days, something's
going on. I'm like, okay, what's it going to look like? What do I shift? What do I move around? Right.
It's a bunch of dimmers. Like I look at life like maybe you're bringing this one up, but then you're bringing this one down for this, or you're dimming that. It's kind of like, you have this energy unit. It's like an internet tab, right? Like your internet tab, you can only have 30 open, but you have like 20 open on fitness and 10 on nutrition. Maybe it's 20 on nutrition this time and 10 on fitness or something like that. It's always just priorities, right? Dimming the priorities.
Yeah. And I know that I make sure to effectively have, what is 2 hours? It's like a 12th of my day, more or less, in that self-care body work space every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Does it mean I do sometimes maybe not sleep as much as I should? A little bit, I don't feel like I'm getting by. I mean, my body is like waking up and I have energy. So, I'm not going to say it's never perfect, and I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of that thing to have that thing stay together. In addition to like what you mentioned here earlier, like my family, right? And the nighttime routine and the chaos that ensues once like around 5 p.m. hits. And it's all part of, again, being in this very macro perspective viewpoint of like, I really want to cherish this time, because everybody talks about how they didn't cherish the time with their young kids enough,
Dude, I love your kids. I freaking love your kids, man. Like Zeke.
It's funny because they're so good with other people. Like when other people are around, they behave so much differently than when it's just mom and dad. They're not that they're bad, but they test us.
Yeah,
they really do. They love that. Like they try to see where's the breaking point. When do we break mom or dad?
Yeah, I mean they definitely do try. I mean it's kind of like a dog when a dog, like I'll go to a neighbor's house or like a friend's house and it's like he doesn't usually do this, but it's like because they're just excited or something. I don't know, but like they're pretty cool. They're pretty chill.
Yeah, I mean I think we're definitely blessed. In the sense of like, I mean, they're sponges and they are a direct output of what we're inputting to them. Like literally, like you know, like I never had the health class where you carried a bag of flour around and you're supposed to like treat the baby or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Like the stereotypical like, high school movie or whatever it was. So like now that it's like I'm thinking about it, like I gotta block out an extra 15 minutes so my daughter can pick out her freaking clothes this morning, you know, as a 2-year-old. And it is, again, I'm like, you know what? I got to cherish this because, you know, in the next 90 days, she's going to be able to, you know, really exactly tell me what versus like have this marble mouth of like, yeah, I don't want that or this, not that, daddy. Like, you know,
she has been, I'm so surprised because I spent more time with her than last time I was here. And she's telling me literally what she wants. She's like, she's playing with her stroller and she's like, I need you to fix this. And I'm like, she's literally like, 2 years old telling me like the exact steps she needs me to do because she can't do it herself. But she just needs my help. And I was like, wow, I love how you communicate. I love it. It's so, I don't know. It's
but that's not a product of just me, man. Like we talked about on that episode with Sham here, which again, like he was talking about fatherhood and, you know, loving the public education thing, but also wanting to make sure your kids get the best possible thing, right? And it is more so directly tied to social influences. My kids learned everything from the environment that we put them in, right? And I was seeing, not that there was any delays with my daughter, but I was like, how do I accelerate it in a way that she then becomes, you know, really like, again, able to communicate, articulate, do things really well.
Yeah.
And I mean, we didn't have, again, with my wife being in school during COVID, as soon as daycares open back up, I mean, my daughter had to go to daycare during the time. And like, I mean, I still think it was crazy that they, you know, or you know, teachers were wearing masks around the babies or whatever. And like, just thinking again, like, this is just nonsense a little bit, right?
No.
I'm like, and again, like all the kids are running around, they're not wearing a mask. It's just like nothing. Again, it's the same thing as like, yes, your infant can sit on your lap on an airplane, but make sure you have your seatbelt buckled. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, God forbid, right? Like, my infant is like going to be fine. You know, I'm going to clench them down because, you know, I am a safety harness, right? And again, so like, I realized whenever that moment hit me, and I mentioned it with Sham, I realized the people I put my kids around are going to likely spend more time with them than I will, even over their young career, right? Like over their youth, right? They're gonna have. I mean, so my son going into kinder. I mean, it's like, okay, he has 7 hours, you know, with initially someone that's an educated professional, right? And then that's a third of the day every day.
They're taking that. We were talking about how it's like a para bonding, para socializing, like all these things. Like they're assimilating traits from people. They're watching them. You know, they're seeing how they talk. Their teacher speaks. They're seeing how you are, how you react. Like that's their life. And like you really want to give them. And I don't have kids yet, but like I think about me as a kid and what I want to give my kid. And it's like I really want to give them an experience where, dude, they just have a launch pad. They crush it more than me. Like I gave you.
That's what every parent wants for their kids. You know? Every parent, literally. I mean, again, it. A lot of the most profitable businesses out there are ones that like facilitate things for kids. I mean, channels that do exceptionally well are just kid based.
Dude, your kid's freaking watching the Bloop.
The Bloop
is like a million subscribers.
Let me tell you about the Bloop. He's like this fictitious sound in the middle of the ocean that they think some sort of creature that lives in them. Probably took down the Titanic. But but nonetheless, like, you know, as a parent, every parent knows this, that you're more so willing to go work harder to give your kids everything and anything that will help them become better at whatever it is they're actually putting desire into. So, you know, my son, he liked jujitsu, but he didn't love it like he does soccer right now. Yeah. So it's like, hey, we're going to take a step back. You know, I know you're getting a lot of value out of it. I've seen your body skills and, you know, the way you're holding yourself and, you know, just like, again, I got his first stripe. It was really cool. It was like, nice. But I also know it's kind of slow for him. He wants something that's a little more active, engaging. More running around, you know, and, you know, maybe it's because I maybe needed to expose him to some more jujitsu videos to see what it would turn into. But he's seeing soccer in like matches and he's like, oh, like, this person did a slide tackle, and then he goes and replicates it. Like they are master replicators, just, and my daughter's the prime. So
I mean, it's the same thing. Like my mom, like whatever we saw on our TV, whatever, we just decided to do that. And there came a point where like baseball was a few years for me, wanted to try football because the friends wanted to do it. But then there came a point where like UFC was on Spike and the Ultimate Fighter came on, and I was like, Forrest Griffin. And then I was just like, boom, that was it for the rest of my life. And like that kind of, I mean, I still do other things, but like I can't resonate, like for me personally, can't resonate with like team sports in the way that others do. Like, hey, doing all those things, playing, like, it's fun. Those things are cool for me. I'll play some pickup ball, but I absolutely am atrocious. I don't know how to dribble. But like for me, when it comes to like, oh, we're doing a martial art today. All right, cool. Like that, it's easy work. And, but I think that's just a personality thing, right? And that's not, you can't force that upon him. He needs to explore himself. And I always tell parents, I always tell people, like, let them explore. Don't put them in one thing forever, because not only are they stimulating their minds in so many different ways, they're growing in different ways biomechanically. You can't overuse injuries, all this stuff. And I'm glad that I'm glad that he kind of communicates what he wants too, and you kind of get to see that too, right?
Well, it was like fucking bloody murder, if we're being honest. Like, it was just, I don't want to go today. In the morning, he's like, I'm excited to go, and then he like gets to go, and then it's just like, all right, like, we're just like, we're done we're gonna put pause. I mean, I think we definitely will revisit it, because he will probably be like, oh man, like, are we ever gonna go back? Like, and or again, like, hey, like, you want to go do like another month and like try to progress. And I mean, I see all the kids there that are, again, maybe like 7 to 9 or 7 to 12, that like that slightly older age group. And there's a lot of maturity that goes between 5 and 7. There's a lot of differences between 4 and 5, 3 and 4. Like, witnessing this,
eons.
The modern day parent has such a unique opportunity if they can, again, make sure that they have a lot of stuff, kind of done ahead of time. I mean, we kind of fumbled into it, but like, I mean, granted, like, I got stuck with my kids because of COVID, right? Like, made the other one because of COVID, right? Like,
there it is. That's so funny.
You're just watching your 2-year-old. You're like, waddle around, fall, laugh. You're just like,
she falls, she cries, and then next thing you know, she's like watching TV and then like laughing again.
Yeah, her exactly, right? Like, and with my son, I mean, like, again, being there and just like, okay, like, I remember playing Nintendo Switch. I purposely bought this Nintendo Switch, mind you, because I knew eventually I was like, I like playing these kind of video games. I will, I want to be able to like do that, because like, I don't think I knew video games weren't going anywhere. I knew it would be a part of our culture regardless.
I mean, the internet,
exactly. And while these days, like, a math-minded person, you get to a point where you become less interested on like the game itself and more about the mechanics of the design.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, but I can appreciate playing it. And, if some of the younger kids come over and I'm about to whoop that ass, I want
to play 2K, Daddy. I got you, son. Like, I got you.
2K. It's like, oh yeah, Fortnite. Like, I don't know. I'll try.
I mean, if it was some Halo 3 LAN party, headshot, no scope all day for me. Got the paddles and the sticks. I mean, that's how much of a gamer I was, like the e-gaming scene, but oh man.
Dude, that's
so funny. But I do want to ask, like, I just noticed the time, and do you think I have a flight to go to. I want to make sure that I'm appropriate.
Oh yeah, we can just sound like Joe Rogan for a second. Hey, I think you got to catch a flight, bro.
Yeah, I know, you got to catch. I've seen some of his guests, like, they're like, oh shit, they're like 3 hours later.
It's like, let me put my phone on mute, and their alarm's not
going off.
What was the question?
The question is, like, what have you felt has been some of the best things this last 6 months, and what do you like to see the next few months as we end the year?
Man, the best thing is belief in self.
Damn.
A lot of the times, I think a lot of things that stopped me before were, me putting some sort of, again, identity to like, I'm not good enough. Why would people listen to me? What do I have to offer?
Yeah.
Instead of leaning into like, this is what I offer. This is what I can do. This is a part of me. And it's been reflective not only in this project and in my personal clients, but also our other work environment. And it all, I mean, the DP episode was, again, probably a catalyst to then having a lot of additional guests. And that was the, again, Rachel having a high school friend that she's like the master networker.
She's clutch,
again,
dude.
talking
Clutch.
unbeknownst to her.
Yeah, she's clutch.
And it was just like, yo, like, okay, like basically I learned, here's the thing. And again, like, I don't know if you can get away with this in every larger scale corporation or whatever, but it's generally better to ask for forgiveness of doing something you think could do a better job, as long as it's in the scope of what you do, right? And then ask for permission. Because every time you do something, when you're asking for that permission, and granted, we have to abide by HIPAA laws. We have things that we have.
We got like
consider.
some certain things that we have to think about.
Yeah, right. So we have things that are requiring protection and anonymity, right? But I'm like, is there a way to elevate what I'm doing? And again, like one of our other colleagues, Mark, he's like, he showed me a beautiful, post summary that he would do, and I was like, I think I could take this. It's already elevated and elevate it even further. And then like, again, we're going to elevate it to this. And then we have this new, again, our meeting this week was elevating an experience. It's like, if you're not constantly chasing quote elevation from a perspective of like, capturing value, then you're just going to stay stagnant. And as soon as, again, my wife was always like, you're the fucking worst. You can just not stay still in one thing. Like again, like I was processing, like everybody in their early 20s, they're like, oh, changing careers. I'm going to change this, do this, do that. And then she's like, are you ever just going to be like settled? And it's like, I'm just not that. You're not supposed to be. Yeah. There's so many things in the world that I am so interested in.
Yeah.
And again, like you reinvigorated the passion for the Rubik's Cube. And obviously, like I had a bunch of them laying around the house. I was like, yeah, I got a 5x5 over here. He's like, go find it for me so I can go solve it. It's my favorite one, right?
My favorite one. Yeah.
And it's like, it's funny that it took so long for us to talk about that common interest, right? And
yeah, we'll get a speed cube on here one day. Watch, guys. Yeah. For
I know he's going to teach us to be even better, but.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing is like I think everything now is getting to a place of like transcending the former belief of what I was, and then literally nothing in my life has felt like it's coming down except for when I perceive it as down. That vibration, that frequency of thinking.
That's why you gotta keep
low.
Yeah.
Keep thinking big. Keep thinking bigger. And again, we got turned down by some big people recently.
And that's okay.
We're not on that level. It's okay.
We're going to get to
it. We took the shot, though.
Yeah, we took the shot.
Well, I should say you took the shot because, I mean, like...
Here's what's going to happen, and I tell you guys on this. This is not like a promise. It is just a given. It is written. It will be coming. We're just paving that way to it.
Yeah.
The people that I asked, not only will they be on, it'll be like a wait list for them to get on.
Damn right.
That's what's going to happen.
That's it.
And for me, what I've learned... to be quite honest, because I love what you said, like the self-belief pack, like why not us kind of thing.
Why not
just
us?
To add on to that, I think the bigger thing that I learned is just actually show more of me. And I know this is like a cohortly thing, but like I think a lot of things that happen with, oh, you have this project, you're a coach, you're this. It's hard for me to share a lot of what I do sometimes, even though I use social media and share a lot, but being more vulnerable in a sense that it's actually appropriate. Mm-hmm. And realistic, because at the end of the day, what I've realized this year is that yes, you have your personal life. Yes, you have your business. Yeah, you can have your job, but who's there with you the whole time? You only. And me being there, I just want to be me throughout all of it as best as possible.
Yep.
And being able to be cool with that and saying, oh, this is me and this is what I want with my personal life and my business. And these are the boundaries that I want, being able to share that effectively without having to feel like, embarrassed by it or kind of like, I don't know if people will resonate with that or if people find that to be cool. I'm just going to be me. And I found that.
Yeah. Who cares what people think if it's not cool? I remember my cousin like grew out of Pokemon when I was young and I got like fucking bent out of shape over it. I was like, what? Like, you don't like my new collection? And like, man, like I look back, I was like, why the fuck did I care? Like, and my cousin, I love my cousin, but like he needs honestly, I love to have him on because he's just fucking funny. So like, just like
get him on
the comedy section, and talk about like, because he's a copywriter and he's just like, and it's done a lot of like interesting different things too. But I mean, I remember that I felt like defeated. I still remember that moment. I was like, how I felt like just
raw,
certain feelings you just don't forget, and it's like. Oh man, like this isn't cool anymore. The first time you're like, oh man, I'm really excited to show this to somebody and like it's not cool. And then it's just like, okay, like I still like Pokemon. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like that is something I grew up with. That like, again, like I've actually thought about like if I were to get a sleeve, like that was such a like nostalgic thing, a sick scene, like just battle scenes with it.
Yeah.
And again, like, well, why would you choose that? I was like, I don't know, because I actually really appreciate again everything that company did for again my childhood, for the fact that it's like it still holds up today to me. You know, it's again the other thing too about like the fucking hero journey. Ash Ketchum never fucking got to the top.
Never did. After 30 years, he never did.
30 years later, bro. I think maybe he did.
That's the truth, though. That's the journey. Like, just keep going. It doesn't matter if you know you're going to win or not.
He said he was going to be the fucking Pokemon master, bro.
He never keeps going, you know? I mean, that's the thing for me. I think that's what I wanted to say was the fact that, like what makes me, like, the best Seamus, like, I want to keep sharing that because I think, and I shouldn't feel any, like, apprehension to it because, you know, when I show up for the podcast, when I show up for this, like, sometimes I play like these two dichotomous roles, but then you realize like, no, you don't. You are that. You're just choosing not to show it. And I want to show it more. And I want to show that to you guys. Not like there's like a secret or anything like that. It's just that
you just don't, express things that are like of genuine interest to you. Like, I mean, I don't think there's anything in this world that I do not appreciate.
Yeah,
truly,
for sure.
Yeah, truly. And again, like, because my uncle was such a big influence on the art exposure and the culture and understanding these things. And I remember being a fucking schmuck when he took me to San Francisco, like on his dime. And I was like, whatever, the Golden Gate Bridge is fucking orange. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, I'm like, and again, like going back in the future, the first time I met you, right? It's like, we're with Dr. Campy, and he's like, this fucking place is a shithole, ain't it?
Yeah, I'm like looking out the bridge, I'm like, it's actually really pretty right now.
I know. It's like, he's like, the city itself sucks, but everything around it is really great. But like, I mean, like, it's okay to appreciate so many things. Like, I like classical music, right?
Love it.
You know, I want to go see like a philharmonic and an orchestra. Like, I appreciate that level of thing.
I almost played for a philharmonic.
See, okay.
I was first chair viola, and
viola, not a flautist. You weren't playing the flute?
No, I'm an orchestra kid, and I like was about to like do the thing. I just struck out on the tryouts, and like they had this with the philharmonic, and then our first chair for cello did it, and then our second chair in the violin did it, and
damn,
it's really cool. But
dude, oh man, see, the thing is like there's like so much depth to everybody. To say that you don't have like so much depth to you, and not just you personally, but like everybody in watching this or that are become a part of what we're doing, you're lying to yourself. Like, there's depth to you, and it doesn't matter. Don't let people like create something that you are not, right? Like, if I were to say like, and again, I think writing down an identity card of the things that you value most has been something that's been so helpful. Like, I'm a fucking minimalist. Like, I want black shoes with white bottoms. I want it to be like, so simple. I want people to come up and be like, yo, your shoes look great. What the fuck are they? But I've never seen those before. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
Flux to plug right here. Make sure you guys TMPP10 discount code.
But like that, wrote down all those other things. It's like this type of apparel. Even this shirt kind of bugs me because it's not like a flat black. When I bought it,
here,
I literally bought this thing. It's like, I'm gonna like, this will be my splash of color. Like a camo. And then my wife's like, yo, like that camo shirt is like pretty lame. I was like, damn. All right, well, like, and I was like, well, I'm not throwing it away because it fits well. I like the fit of it, so I've been using it. And so nonetheless, like, just dive into your depth. Like, dive into you.
I want to be more me. I want to unapologetically do that. And I think the podcast has definitely done a great job of bringing me out a little bit more because I have to be there, I have to be present, I have to be there. And it's also showed me who I need to become. And I've been taking a lot of crap out of my life, really taking bad behaviors out, taking a lot of like just waste of time, these drags, and just really looking at my life and changing that identity card to be what I really want it to be and then some. But no, I just want to kind of wrap it here just to be appropriate for both of us.
Yeah, man. We got to eat something for sure.
We got to eat something. We got to get a flight. But guys, 52 episodes, man.
Well, technically more, but 52 like main track, the main arc.
And, we thought we'd be here in December. I was like, celebrating this for December. Now, guys, here's what I'm looking forward to And what you guys are going to see as time progresses on, there's going to be an event all the time. There's going to be a cycle of things and seasons.
There's going to be events.
There's going to be winners. There's going to be champs. There's going to be connection, community, culture, ethnic food, but healthified. There's going to be, barbells being thrown around. There's going to be sprints being done. And there's going to be challenges. There's going to be online. There's going to be everything. And we're going to create it. And it all started from, I'm just be honest, from this weekend and then on. I mean, it started long ago, but this weekend harnessed a lot of it. And I'm looking forward to a lot of these things that you guys will see, that it's online, in-person events, whatever it is, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Like, again, the hero's journey is really never finished, right? I mean, while movies might wrap it up, I think the fact that, again, after 25 years of Ash Ketchum to bring him back, like, again, like I still don't know. I have to go Google it to double check. Like, never reached the podium once, but it was the desire to try to get there and the work ethic to get there, which, again, from a freaking kid's cartoon, literally kind of creating this thing, is something that, again, can be totally relatable. And again, we said, hey, we can't do the next thing until we have this many reps. And we said 52 because what did you say? 52 is the number because
most podcasters don't get past 3 episodes. If you get to 21 episodes, you're in the top 0.01%.
Okay.
And someone said something along the lines like, if you get to 52 episodes, you're like some of the best, like in terms of just development. And I was like, let's just get to that. Can we do one a week, like an hour a week together? Yeah. Didn't sound intense. And then there came a week that was like 6 hours together or more.
I know. Yeah. But so, I mean, that was the number. We hit that goal. It surpassed all of our expectations. And again, it was our own personal self-development journey. And we've been selfish. We've had people on for us. And we're going to continue to do that. But we're also going to be able to hopefully find more people that we can bring on for you. Yeah. Right. And that's where, again, it's a two-way street. Like, if there's no one out there telling us people that would be great for this or nothing's being shared, that can't manifest. Like, you know what I mean?
We need your help.
We truly will need people's help in the future. And that's why we're like, hey, let's see if we can even do this thing realistically. What does it turn into? And like by 52, literally, you said it and you called it. And like, I mean, as fate will have it, I have like over $2,000 worth of airline credits that was bestowed upon me because I was so willing to give up my seat for someone that needed it. Like it's just, again, you lean into who you are, have fun with life. Yeah. And again, there's going to be so many great things that so many people can accomplish. And if you've made it to the end of this episode, this is us celebrating our wins, and you guys should find ways to, again, lean into something that makes you more you, especially if it's a skill you think that is highly sought out. Yeah. And that would be a ton of fun to try to like bring into your life. We've had amazing conversations. We're going to continue to do that. I built like a great friendship with this guy over here. Yeah. Like, I mean, he literally stayed at my parents' house. Like, you know what I mean? Like
super chill, feeding me, giving me food.
Again, like, and that's the thing. It's like, it's not about, like, okay, like he's like, I'm gonna steal your bars, I'll pay you back. And I was like, I can care less, dude. Like, eat the food. Like, yeah. I just want I want to build something that ends up being fun. So be on the lookout for more from us. Our website will eventually be themacroperspective.co. The right. Again, important to us. A lot of our handles might be changing a little bit just to like, again, facilitate that, just to let people know. Obviously, it still sticks. Actually, I think the channel for YouTube is at the Macro Perspective. So again, it's good. We've got to find a way to change the Instagram now, whatever. And then, yeah, I mean, again, this has been a fun journey, man. I'm excited. Man. Nux.
Hey, it's been great with you, in person, Nux, man.
Buying equipment, literally, that's a fucking camera.
New camera.
I gotta shout out my parents. Thank you for the nicer camera that helped elevate and bring things up even more. Yeah. And there'll be more to come. And I still feel like an idiot figuring out how to use that piece of equipment, just like these. But hey, like it's fun.
It's the journey. Yeah. It's the journey. Thanks, guys. Comment, like, share, subscribe. Appreciate y'all.